What kind of fillers will we get in the days to come, especially perhaps when they sit tomorrow? But to give us a view, some view about what may happen, let's head to Abuja. Marwa.
Thank you, Chamberlain. We have with us in the studio this morning Mr. Daramola, who is a former member of the House of Representatives and also a member of Bago Campaign Organization. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much.
This Bago Campaign Organization is for the House of Reps?
Yes, it's vying for the speakership of the House Night Assembly.
I thought you were in the APC.
Oh yes, I'm still in APC.
You're a member of the All Progressives Congress?
Absolutely.
You're not going with the stance of your party?
Well, it's not a matter, and I've had this narrative severally. Anytime you tend to express a different opinion that doesn't go with the mainstream, you know, it's deemed as rebellion. It's deemed that you being recalcitrant.
But isn't that what it is?
That's not what it is. The first question you want to ask is that what is the substance of my... At what point did I choose to go on another route? You want to find out first and foremost, one, is there substance in my claims? Can I substantiate it?
What claims are you making?
All right, fine. I believe the party has 100% responsibility to guide the people how to navigate out of the difficult times, such as we live in. You've seen the screaming banners of newspapers this morning. Aren't they worrisome? Now, in the move to ensure that the party delivers much more than the party had delivered before, every arm of government and every hand must be on deck. So to that extent, we'll expect that the party will be able to guide the new members and the old returning members to be able to navigate through these very difficult times. But that's where it ends. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is clear on how the leadership of the House should come about. That's not in doubt. And also the standing rules of the House is also clear about how the leadership of the House should come to be. But first and foremost, one of the things that would be of critical importance is this. What is good? What is just? What is expedient? And what reflects equity? We're in a country where everybody feels that, okay, it's one nation, we're united, and we make all of these pretensions. But it doesn't appear as if our actions are geared in that direction. What do I mean? If you go to section 14 of this very small book that all of us have sworn to go by, it says, if you give me the indulgence to just read it, it says, under the Chapter 2, Fundamental Objectives and Directive Principles of State Policy, it shall be the duty and responsibility of all organs of government and all authorities and persons exercising legislative, executive, or judicial to conform, to observe and apply the provisions of this chapter of this Constitution. And it goes ahead to say in subsection 3, and this is very important, and we must abide by that. We don't have a choice. We can't negotiate the Constitution.
Go ahead. Read
it says the composition of government of the Federation of any of its agencies and the conduct of its affairs shall be carried out in such a manner as to reflect federal character of Nigeria and the need to promote national unity and also to command national loyalty, thereby ensuring that there be no predominance of persons from a few states or from a few ethnic or sectional groups in that government or in any of its agencies. And then subsection 15 says,
in that government or in any of its agencies?
Any of its agencies.
I think it's very important to underline that.
Yes, in that government or in any of its agencies.
By all means, go ahead.
So you understand that now. And then section 15 says, the motto of the Federal Republic of Nigeria shall be unity and faith, peace and progress. So if you violate equity, you have directly created a substratum for all of these things to be violated.
How is your party violating?
No, go ahead. Just go ahead. Just wait a second. And then
let me
just feel you through this also. The state shall foster a feeling of belonging and of involvement among the various peoples of the Federation, to the extent that loyalty to the nation shall override sectional loyalties. Now, we have a ground norm. And I dare say that the guys who will be voting at that election will be guided by the provisions of this small book for the next 4 years. This is a judgment call sitting on their shoulders. And they cannot function outside of the precincts and the borders as defined by this small book. So, in addition to this, now...
If I get you right, if I'm getting you clearly, what you're saying is that your party is about to violate the Constitution, or they are violating the Constitution with the guidelines that they have set out. Is that what you're saying?
Well, what we have on the table today, we have 6 geopolitical zones. Let's be very simplistic about this. We have 6 geopolitical zones. And then we have 6 foremost positions of that government. The incoming administration would have to fill, of course, has already filled, the position of the president, the position of the vice president, and then, of course, we're clear where the Senate president is going to. We can't negotiate that. Nobody is even trying to mess with that arrangement.
What arrangement?
Of having to zone Senate presidency to Northeast. And then you have a situation where a zone that came third pulled in the third largest votes that eventually culminated in our dear party's emergence and victory at the 2019 polls. Is being treated as if, okay, we're being gratuitous to you, go take deputy speaker.
What zone is that? The North Central?
The North Central. And everything we do today, let us be very careful about this. We must ensure that we're standing on terra firma created by justice and equity.
You've talked about the Constitution, and you're citing your support for Honorable Bago based on, you know, that section that talks about all agencies of government, or government and all its agencies must represent a federal character. And you now go ahead to say that the 6 foremost seats of this government, that's what you talk about. It doesn't talk about all the government seats or all the seats in government. It doesn't talk about all the agencies of government. You're basing your support for him on the 6. The Constitution doesn't talk about 6 foremost seats.
No. It's clear. The positions that will be filled first and foremost are stipulated by this Constitution are the president, the vice president, the Senate president, the deputy Senate president, the speaker, and the deputy speaker. I didn't say so. They are creations of the law. Now, in addition to that, composite to that is the fact that the Constitution of our great party also lends credence to that.
The Constitution did not say that all the 6 geopolitical zones of the country must have a fair sharing of the 6 foremost positions in government. That's not what the Constitution says.
I read this to you, Bokwe.
I wasn't. I listened very carefully while you read it. And I'm saying that these are some of the arguments that people will put forward when, you know, they talk about your party. How is your stance going to hold water in the face of these other arguments that what you're saying might not really hold water?
How?
If you say, for instance, that your party is not letting members be independent, for instance, that's one kettle of fish. One might say, perhaps, when they zone it to even a particular area, I mean, that might be restricting in some ways. But if the members themselves decide that that's not who they want, will you say they are violating the Constitution?
Absolutely no. But the party is the umbrella, is the father. All of the 360 guys that will be voting at that election are the children of the party. And there's no father that would have 6 children. Hang on a second.
No, the PDP is not in the APC.
Yeah, wait, let me finish.
Go ahead.
There are 360 people who will vote at that election. All right? And then it is incumbent on them, all of them. They cannot negotiate it. PDP, ABGA, APC, and all of that must abide first and foremost by the ground norm. And so, they are also...
Which says what? That all the 6 positions must be filled by,
yes,
6 geopolitical zones?
Absolutely, it's here. It's here.
I didn't hear that.
Okay, let me read it to you again. The composition of government of the government of the federation of any of its agencies and the conduct of its affairs shall be carried out in such a manner as to reflect federal character. Those guys understand that. The guys from Afghan understand this is not something that is partisan. This is the structure of government that they are a part of. And so, because it's the structure of government, it is incumbent on them to function. Listen, the oath that they will be sworn on to become members of that house, all of them are enshrined there.
Can I ask you a question?
Please go ahead.
When you were a member of the House of Representatives,
Yes.
when you talk about the leadership of the National Assembly, or even more specifically, the leadership of the House of Representatives,
yes,
are you referring to only the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker?
In this context, I'm talking about the House of Reps.
I understand.
Obviously,
clearly.
because we have a bicameral legislature.
You haven't answered my question.
What's the question?
The question is, when you talk about the leadership of the House of Representatives,
yes,
do you refer only and strictly to the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker?
Absolutely.
Don't you also refer to the other leaders, the principal officers of the House?
Listen, that is when you now get into the House that the other members, the principal officers will emerge. That's not provided for here. What is provided for is clearly, one, a ground norm, a foundation that nobody must violate. And everybody, one time, Barrister Additional was on this channel, and everybody talks about how we observe or we comply with the Constitution in breach. It is not so much about the Constitution, but the operators of the Constitution.
So I'll ask you again.
Yes.
Is your party then, with the guidelines that they have set, violating the Constitution?
What we are saying is that we're drawing the attention of the party to the provisions of the Constitution of the country, and of course the provision of our party that also lends credence to that. It says, we, the true progressives and patriots, determined to render service at all levels of government, to build a nation which will guarantee equal opportunity for all, mutual and peaceful coexistence, respect and understanding, eliminating all forms of discrimination and social injustice to all Nigerians. Hereby make, for effective governance of our party and promotion of its ideas and objectives. And it's all there. Supremacy of the party that people talk about. There's also the supremacy of the Constitution. Indeed, our party is a creation of this Constitution. And so, everything that runs contrary to this Constitution is to the extent of its inconsistency, null and void. What we are saying is that we are saddled with, so President Buhari in the next 2-3 months will be faced with the realities of where he's going to take this country to in another 4 years. And so his place in history must guide every action that we take here and elsewhere. And now let me give you staggering and shocking facts that you may want to address your mind. So this is not rebellion. This is just saying that for a zone that has reasonably done well for our party, it would do us well as a party to also look in that direction to say, okay, fine. If they did so much for the party, they must also be recognized and acknowledged for doing what they have done. And that is what Honorable Bago is sitting on.
You still haven't answered my question. When I ask you if your party is violating the Constitution, the answer is yes or no.
It's not
my,
yes.
My party is violating the Constitution by going down the routes that they've gone, or no, they haven't. They're maybe they're ignorant of what is there.
No, how can I say yes or no to what extent? For Senate President, reasonably so, it's been zoned to Northeast. What's the violation there? That's equity. And then the third highest number of votes coming from North Central also should reflect that. Listen, if 6 students go to exams, and one scores 80, and that scores 100, no, and that scores 60, and that scores 40, how are you going to rate them?
If you cite copiously provisions of this Constitution, if you cite copiously provisions of this Constitution, and you're saying that you base your support for Honorable Bago on it, you're talking about issues of federal character, and you're saying that, you know, if you violate it, you already, you know, scatter the ground, or you already automatically violate another section which talks about the motto of unity and faith and things of the sort. Aren't you indirectly suggesting that your party is violating or about to violate federal character with what they have, with the guidelines they have released for the leadership of the National Assembly?
Do you know, you have to address your minds to one fact. One or two facts. When you join a political party, it will suggest that everything that political party does aligns and you are in agreement on what that political party. That's why you're not in any other party but in this party. Number one. Number two, listen. the success of any party is the summation of the integral components of all the guys who have made the party what it is. What I'm saying in this context is to say that, fine, we succeeded in 2019, but then we didn't succeed independent of the North Central's votes. So it's not a case of dark, black and white. There's the gray area. We are saying that as much as possible, it would be fair because in future, if you flip this around and it's the Southwest that's going to be deprived, what will I be doing? I'm not doing this just because it is, listen, I have just told you that what is good, between what is good and what is right, my mom advised me to go for what is right. And she often tells me that the residence of Mr. Right is farther away from Mr. Good. So you need a little bit of effort to get to Mr. Right's house. If you take advantage of the closeness of the house of Mr. Good at the expense of a little bit of exerting yourself to get to Mr. Right's house, the day it becomes expedient for Mr. Good to throw you out, it's going to be easy. But Mr. Right will never throw you out.
Let me bring in our guest here. We have another guest joining us now. Ismail Ahmed is Senior Special Assistant to the President on Social Investment Programs. He's also the former Deputy Director of Youth, APC Presidential Campaign Council. Ismail, you're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm sure you've been listening a bit, or you caught a bit of what Honorable Daramola has been saying. You know, he is based in talking about leadership of the National Assembly. He cited very copiously sections of the Constitution which talks about the federal character. And I think he's saying that from the guidelines that your party has released, and I think he can correct me, it will seem that you're about to breach the provisions of federal character by zoning some of the leadership positions, especially that of the Speaker of the House, to the Southwest. What's your response to that?
Well, first of all, Honorable Daramola has been a member of the House of Representatives, and he has been my friend, and I don't want to get into the politics of the inner house, which I am ill-equipped to go against him on that issue. But my take has always been very simple. We know where we're coming from, especially after we won election in 2015. We know the mistakes and the landmines that we deliberately refused to sidestep, and that took us off in 2015. We were declared winners, especially of the presidential election, on the 30th of March 2015, and we had 2 clear months between the whole of April and almost towards the whole of May to decide on the leadership of National Assembly equitably and have consultations. I don't think we did that very much in 2015, and then what happened, and then we paid dearly as a political party for it throughout the 4 years of between 2015 and 2019. Now, we are at another critical juncture. Now, let me be very clear. I'm not in support. I think parliamentary politics has a lot to do with a lot of backroom dealing, a lot of consultation. You need to have the buy-in of as many members of the party as possible. I don't think it should be dictatorial. I don't think anyone should sit on his high horse and unilaterally decide how things should go.
Is that what is happening now?
No, it's not. But what I'm saying is that it shouldn't even look like that. It should look like party people are being brought in to agree on a particular issue. My take is simple. Those who are in leadership position, we should begin to mature democracy in a way that those who are in leadership positions should automatically graduate to presiding officers. So, for example, in the Senate, we have Senator Ahmed, who still is the majority leader, which means he is the leader of the caucus of APC in the Senate. He graduates to Senate President. Okay, so be it. You have Honorable Femi Bajabimila, who is the House leader, graduates, to Speaker. If that's the case, then so be it. But it must be done with consultations. It must be done with everybody being brought in on board. It cannot be dictatorial in any way.
You say that it mustn't even seem that way. I mean, those were your words. You say that's not what is currently happening. Talking about the dictatorship part of it. Does it seem that way?
No, I think a lot of people seem to think that there are a couple of few people within the party structure who are just determining this. I don't think so, but that's what a lot of people seem to believe. And that is where most of the resistance is coming from. It's not necessarily say about the zoning issue as much. I had an argument with someone who is a ranking member of the National Assembly, and I said, how do we do this? And he said, there are principal offices that are recognized by the Constitution. Principal offices that are recognized by the party. President, Speaker, National, Senate President. Those are principal offices. Every deputy or every vice is under someone who the presiding officer or the principal, whatever the case may be, dictates the tone. So as far as they are concerned, if the presidency is in the northwest, the Senate presidency goes to the northeast, for example, and the speakership can go to the southwest because it's a bonding together of two very important allies. That's the north and the southwest coming together. So when I spoke about the vice presidency being the southwest, I said, well, the vice presidency is not a principal position because there is a president ahead of a vice president. So, well, I don't know, like I said, I don't know their arguments. All I know is that I want my party to retain its majority. I don't want division within the rank. I want everybody to be consulted, and I don't want the mistakes of 2015 to be repeated. Mm.
Well, you have heard his own argument. Yeah. What do you make of it?
Well, I don't think he has vitiated anything I've said. More than anything else, I'm happy that this is coming from my brother Ishmael.
Not even when he says that the principal officers, for instance. No. I mean, you talk about the 6 foremost positions, and then he brings in this argument of the principal officers recognized by the Constitution. The Constitution of the party, right?
Principal officers of the Constitution of the party, not necessarily the Constitution.
Did you hear that?
Right. Let me say clearly that one, the aggregate of his submission tends to say it doesn't want, it would rather we toe the lines of amity, consultations, and not dictatorship, right? He said that. And then I also heard him say things like he would want a lot of consultation to go. And then the chairman of our party had done that. He said that variously at the meeting with the new members and all of that. But let's make one thing clear, and that's not in doubt. Everybody seeking to become the Speaker of the House of Representatives at the Ninth Assembly is eminently qualified, number one, by reason of the fact that they are all children of the same father and maybe mother. And of course, what every parent does is, even if you prefer a child, you don't wear it like a mask. Favoritism will rip your family apart. We know that. A father and a mom having 6 lunch boxes on the table with 6 children all raising up to go to school and to catch the bus to school, will do well to say, okay, fine, that's your lunch box, that's your lunch box, that's your lunch box, and all that. What will you be cutting if you now give 2 lunch boxes to one child at the expense of the other? And that's that graphic. Or you have a 6-bedroom house for the kids, and then you say, okay, you take 2 other rooms, make one of these your cloakroom, and then one of the children go back to the boys' quarters. Now, one thing that I think Bago is clear on that too. Let me just land on this.
I'm afraid I have to interrupt you. I'll let you land on it when we come back from break.
Okay.
Yes, please. In a moment, please stay with us.